Arcs to import correctly into Bendex. I'm going to just draw an arc in the 2D software and shorten it a little bit. So if I open this, I kind of have this done a little bit, IR22, and it took me a couple tries to get the dimensions correct, but I'm basically going to import a sketch, 2D, and I'm going to just select the layers. This is just me being overly anal retentive because I don't need these other extra piece of geometry in there. So I have an arc drawn on layer 1. I don't have to mess with any of this. And again, I cheated and I used like an AutoCAD to kind of shorten this a little bit. But because if I have the legs on here and just try to extrude this as a profile, it doesn't work. I don't know why. I need a little bit, about a ½ inch of flat on the end. So I found it easier just to draw the arc again in AutoCAD or something. And then I come in here and hit this button, and I'm going to make it 73 inches long. Check that it's 0.75 thick, and it's going to the right side. I could flip it depending if I drew the inside or outside. I drew the inside arc. Also note that my K factor is 0.35 instead of the default 0.5. And then I have my 3D arc here. And here's where, you're probably not drawing it like this. Hopefully this doesn't throw a huge wrench in your process, but then I'm going to come in and then just add my 2 flanges to the end here. And here and here. And notice that I have a flat, again, around a ½ inch, and just the arc length I drew. I tested it and I had to shorten it a little bit. So I have a little bit of an offset here of 442. And because the arc is a little bit shorter, I'm sure there's a way to trig it out, but I just usually use CAD. If I draw the angles at 90, they're actually a little under. So to compensate for that little flat area, I'm actually going to do them at 90.5 degrees. And then my flange length is 3.8. So I'm going to zoom in here, and you can see I'm going to have a little bit of a flat section here. It's adding to the end of the arc. And then I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to hit save as and export it as a step file. And I already did it earlier, but I'm going to make this V2. So now when I go over to Bendex, I could hit import, but I'm always kind of a drag and drop guy. So I just have a window on my other screen and I'm dragging it in. I don't know what you're using for material selection. I'm just picking 400 newtons per millimeter, which is standard steel. If I had stainless, I'd pick 600 or aluminum 200, but I'm going to import it as this. And please check your expert menu to make sure bending line is central, or inside, excuse me. K factor correction is on, and autocorrect bending radius is on. And then when I go back and I hit import, yes, I want to convert all bending areas into curved parts. And you can see here now my flat comes in. I have a little bit of a flat. Note also that it is a little goofy, and this is just a Bendex. I don't know if you really want to call it a bug, but when you have a lot of large radii parts, it kind of skews the dimension a little bit, because if I click on the flange, you'll see it's exactly what I drew at 73 inches. But if I come over here, if you notice that it says unfolded width, and I'll show you what that is. It's just kind of goofy. It's at a small taper, which is odd, but it doesn't affect the program at all. It just looks funny. If you're double checking your length and width, it's not going to be correct. You're going to have to export a DXF and then measure it that way. But this hopefully will provide some assistance. So I'm going to go and just export a 2D profile of this. So I'm going to change the view orientation to be exactly 90 degrees. And I'm going to go File, Save As, a DXF, and then I'm going to call it Part 6, whatever. I'm just testing, so I'm going to delete it later. And this is going to give me a nice annotation view of the current. Yay. And then I'm going to bring my other, if you don't have AutoCAD, this is NanoCAD 5 is kind of a nice freebie thing. It's kind of the same thing. This was the original part you sent. They had all these little segments here. So I'm going to go ahead and open my new DXF, and I'm not at the current location. Part 6, and it's upside down. So I like to change the color real quick so I can have a nice overlay, and then I'm going to rotate this. And then I'm going to copy this to the clipboard, and then when I go over to your part, delete that. I'm going to paste this, and then I'm going to move it from the center here to 0, 0. And then you can see that I have to hit regen. It's got the same radius. Man, that's pretty darn close. And you can see that, okay, well, I drew the flanges at 3.82. Maybe I need to do them at 823 or something. Dimensions aligned. Oh man, I'm off. Yeah, I should probably drew it at 821, 8239 or something. But you see that by putting it at 90.5, I'm getting, man, that's pretty darn close. It's not perfect, but I don't know if you're going to really notice a couple thousandths here and there, but that will allow you to import the files correctly into Bendex.